Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This video is for those people who wanted some mods for first person and like the third person combat overhaul I just did. You've probably seen a few of these though, but I promise I do have some mods that might mix it up a little bit for you. So before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button down below and maybe subscribe to the channel if you're feeling generous today, because I mean it is kind of free and I release content tri-daily, if that is even a word. But anyway, let's dive right in. We're starting off kind of big with our first one, which is called Immersive Camera SE. This is absolutely essential. This mod actually kind of reminds me of when I first started YouTube. It was one of my first big videos because they gave me early access. But this mod allows for you to view your character in first person, and it's pretty much conflict free unlike the other mod that won't be named. So any mod added armor works out the box with this mod. To configure, all you have to do is press Shift+O. And once you do that, you can now do so much more with this mod, like first person horse riding, which I don't actually recommend. You should probably keep that to third person because it gave me motion sickness just trying to record this. But for the people that do want to ride a horse in first person, this mod gives you that for free and no incompatibilities. Pretty much anything you can see your person do in third person, you can now see yourself do in first person. And this really brings the intro to a new level of immersive to me. Being able to see your character in binds and your body in the car before the binds are cut off you, just make this mod so much better. I mean, people did find ways to force third person in the intro, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for things like being able to finally play werewolf in first person. I feel like you guys are going to be more focused on the first shot though. But hey, I don't blame you either way. I couldn't really get my hands and body to show up too much due to the way the werewolf skeleton is kind of lean forward, but you can definitely see the hands when attacking. And if you edit it with the settings in game, which once again is Shift+O, you'll be able to enhance this even more than I did. But werewolves weren't the only ones overhauled. There's vampire lords as well, but this one does require a patch unfortunately. I believe the mod author states better vampires and better vampire lords work out the box with it, which is actually my preferred. But if you use something like Sacrosanct, if I said that correctly, you'll need a patch, but luckily there is one in the optional files for you. Improved Camera doesn't really introduce any new animations. That will pretty much be left vanilla. You'll just be able to feel them better and fight better with this camera mod, completely overhauling your first person visuals. Even more so considering you can increase your FOV to new sizes or decrease it if you need FPS, which isn't something I would judge about. But if you want new animations, you'll want to use the next mod, Comprehensive First Person Animations Overhaul. It completely overhauls every animation in Skyrim for first person. I will say though that this does kind of conflict with improved camera, but not in a bad way like it will cause crashes, but more so when you sprint with the first person animations, your character should have their hands in front of them moving in an immersive way, but it kind of doesn't happen anymore with improved camera, but you still get everything else. I'm just referring to it as this mod because saying the title is kind of exhausting at this point. But this mod completely overhauls the first person animations, allowing a stop on hit type of animation. Even if you don't hit anything, it'll still play the same animation. It isn't dynamic, at least not yet anyway, but there is a follow through animation for the same weapons as well when you install this mod. You pretty much pick and choose everything that you want, even the extra animations for the sword like you see the jab and the poke animations, that is the optional. But my favorite has to be the new fire magic animations, or just magic animations in total. I'm not sure how this mod gets bug reports either. I've never had any issues with it, so I doubt you will either, besides the fact that you might get too into your character with these animations. This mod introduces so many more animations than I was able to actually feature in this video. I could probably make an entire video on it, and the great part is that although slowly, this mod is still being updated to add more animations and fix bugs. But like I said, I rarely experience any issues besides what I mentioned. But then again, everyone's case will be a little bit different when it comes to compatibility. But if you want a more compatibility friendly version, I recommend this mod, Modern First Person Animations Overhaul. This mod does what the other mod does, but on a much smaller scale, leaving certain aspects of Skyrim animations alone, and instead focusing just on the weapons. The best way that I can put the comparison between the two without favoritizing one is that Comprehensive First Person Animation Overhaul, which is the first mod, wants to completely change the way that you play in first person, while this mod, Modern First Person, wants to just enhance it. This mod also I think is better at showing the flow of animations. I enjoy the smoothness of this mod because these new animations, you will see your character's weapon swing to both sides, never really going off screen and disappearing before swinging back. The heavy weapons though are a bit off-putting, I won't lie, because when you swing your character's weapon, it kind of just sits there for a second before actually swinging. kind of like it's mimicking the delay that happens in third person, which I think balances them, but it is a little weird for me to watch in action. And the bow animations of this mod I kind of like a little more also. It just feels a little more smooth, but that's just my opinion. Both excel at different things. But now we got some miscellaneous mods I wanted to mention. Like the first one up, motion warning first, but the first mod up is camera noise. This is a mod by Doolum that lets your camera move like you would see in God of War if you played that, when ideal or moving in first and third person. You'll see the camera shaking slowly, or it can get violently like you just saw. And all of this can be changed in the ENB settings. Some people have reported not seeing the camera noise settings there under shaders, but you just have to save your ENB first, then it'll load. Not sure why it's like that, but that's a quick fix for people having that issue. This is a super simple mod, but when you get it set up to your personal taste, you'll pretty much never want to remove this mod. But if you want to combine this for the complete set, I highly recommend the next mod, which is called Cinematic Sprint. This mod, when moving in third or first person, will zoom in the camera, or more specifically, it'll just lower your FOV and add a slight screen shaking when you're sprinting. This paired with camera noise make for kind of like the perfect exploration camera. My only advice is to be careful with the motion sickness. You'll have a headache and not know why. And just one more quick mod I had to mention is called Oblivion Camera. This mod, if you're playing in third person, will force your character to zoom in and into whatever character you're speaking with. But this mod only activates if that character has dialogue for you to react with, otherwise you'll stay in third person. It's kind of a super immersive mod and pretty simple to install. It uses script extenders, so as long as you have script extender installed correctly, you can just install this mod and play. Nothing else is needed. And now for Precision. This mod is the mod that ties it all together, the final must-have mod. Precision is when you see my screen shaking, or maybe you notice an NPC hit a wall and recoil. This is pretty much all Precision, and so much more. Like the hit stop, this alone without the screen shaking makes it so when you hit something, your weapon slows down. This can be turned off or turned up to the max, so you get like one hit every 2 seconds, which I don't actually recommend either way. But when you mix it with the screen shaking, that's when it's kind of perfect, otherwise it looks a little weird. And the static hit is what I mentioned before. When you hit a wall or are in a small area where you can't really swing, or NPCs do it as well, you will stagger back to simulate the recoil. But I usually have it turned off for the player only. And lastly, we just have Impulse. This is basically flinch, what other mods call it. When your character hits something, their body will move in the direction of the hit. And then when you tie them all together and find that perfect combination for you, you'll never want to go back to not using Precision. It pretty much ties all first person animations and mods together to make for the perfect combat overhaul. Some people hate screen shake though, and I just say to turn it off. But for the people that love it, you might spend a little time making the perfect match between screen shake and hit stop, but it'll be worth it once you actually find it. I will link my settings down in the description, but I kind of ruined it making this showcase, so I have to remember what I had it as and replace it. So instead we have a mod replacing those ugly trails in Precision. Called Precision Trail Replacer. Simple. It's not very noticeable honestly, and that's pretty much what you want. You can either use this or turn it off, because this mod pretty much makes it look like your sword is actually cutting through wind, rather than just a white trail being behind the sword. And the last mod is Sekiro Combat S. The only reason I'm even mentioning this is because I know it'd be asked about, and it's how I got those block sparks when I hit an enemy shield. Sekiro Combat S can be used with Valhalla Combat because of how small it is, if you want to do it that way, but I just use it for the block effects. It also has a time block function, but honestly it gets overridden easily, so I kind of forget about it. And honestly, that was it for today guys. Let me know what you thought down below in the comments, because I do enjoy first person sometimes, just like everyone else, even though I don't show it. But as of right now, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace and love guys.